question on Putin.
Putin!
And
Putin!
I think you did strategically because you knew it's what we'd ask.
Putin! He's so bad!
And I also appreciate that.
Did he make you take the COVID shot?
Take the what?
The COVID shot? No, he didn't. Sorry.
The COVID shot saved probably tens of millions.
Oh, yeah,
and
definitely.
probably
Safe and effective. This is why everyone loves the media.
Probably 100 times more.
So that was Tucker Carlson speaking to the Australian press, and they tried roasting him, and in return, he roasted them. So this video is going to be about a couple of things. Primarily, I'm going to share with you something that Putin said in the interview that he did with Tucker Carlson a while ago. This video's been out for a while, and we're going to talk about propaganda. We're going to speak about what it is. We're definitely going to give examples of propaganda for sure. And you're going to be surprised what is considered propaganda and what isn't based on some of the examples that I'm going to give. And the other thing too is the message that Putin stated about propaganda, political propaganda. I think you're going to love what he has to say, but maybe not. Because depending on how you feel about Putin or the media manipulation that you are at to conclude that you're not going to even watch the interview, right? Because that alone is propaganda. You may not even get to the conversation about what Putin said in the interview at all, right? So even that is propaganda. Things that prevent us from seeing something, watching something, experience something might have led to some propaganda that you were exposed to, and you decided that this is going to be my color from now on. My color is going to be blue. My color is going to be red, or my color is going to be purple based on ideas and ideologies that are presented to me in the world today. So all those things are propaganda. When you think about like an 800 number that is connected to a jingle, right? I'm not going to say it here. That is propaganda. When you think of all the slogans that you've heard throughout the years since you've been on this planet, that is propaganda. Now, propaganda is not necessarily a bad word. It is a neutral word, but what people use it for to galvanize and take groups of people and make them believe something to some degree, that is propaganda. So in so many words, the goal of propaganda, we can talk about that, is to connect a neutral word or neutral words to other things. And people do it all the time. When you think about a slogan like, just do it, right? Just do it. Just do what? And what is that slogan connected to, right? We've heard it for years now. Or where a kid can be a kid. What is that connected to, right? So you think about all the different slogans or cars that make sense. What is that? You see what I'm saying? So you get the idea. So if there are things that you haven't watched or things that you haven't experienced because of a particular way that you thought about it, how did you get to the point to think about it the way you do? All those things are propaganda. So we're going to define propaganda here, and we're going to do that right now. So what is propaganda? So here we have propaganda. It is communication that is used to influence opinion. It's psychological warfare. It's media manipulation. And we are definitely going to share the clip where Tucker is speaking with Putin and what Putin says exactly how he feels about political propaganda as a whole. And I think it's critical that you definitely get to that point of the video. And I'm going to, you're going to have a good time experiencing that if you have not watched the interview, and you're going to love that part, right? So propaganda here is communication that is primarily used to influence or persuade an audience to further an agenda, which may not be objective and may be selectively presenting facts to encourage a particular synthesis or perception, or using loaded language, like, for example, something like fake news. Now, fake news may be fake news, but fake news doesn't necessarily get you to a place to research, not everyone, right? But some individuals may not research the fake news to find out if is the fake news real news, right? As fact checking, because it's a lot of work to do research to find out if something is accurate or not accurate, or even a truth with some omission. That is going to lean an individual to look at a thing in a particular way, right? So even that loaded language, right? To produce an emotional rather than a rational response to the information that is being presented. Propaganda can be found in a wide variety of different contexts, right? So it says here, in the 20th century, the English term propaganda was often associated with a manipulative approach, but historically, propaganda had been a neutral descriptive term of any material that promotes certain opinions or ideologies, right? So I have that highlighted here. Now, this particular paragraph speaks of a wide range of materials and media are used for conveying propaganda messages, which changed as new technologies were invented. Cartoons, posters, pamphlets, film, radio shows, TV shows, and of course, it gives you a list of those things. And it says here, for example, bots and algorithms are currently being used to create computational propaganda and a fake or biased news, as we were just speaking about, to spread it on social media. So essentially, that is definitely important when you think about propaganda. The next thing I want to share with you is something that may be considered controversial in a lot of ways because of the figure that I'm getting ready to speak about, because you either love her or you don't necessarily pay attention to anything that she has going on. So we're going to talk about that right now. So now let's talk about Taylor Swift. I like her music, okay? So no stones here. I like your music. But this particular dispute, will go down in history as it shifted a lot of different things, right? So the Taylor Swift Masters dispute. So here it says, on June 30th, 2019, the American singer-songwriter Taylor Swift entered into a dispute with her former record label, Big Machine Records, its founder, Scott Borchetta, and its new owner, Scooter Braun, over the ownership of the masters of her first 6 studio albums. It was highly publicized dispute. Yes, it was. It was all over the news, drawing widespread media coverage and led Swift to release the re-release recordings: Fearless, Taylor Swift's version; Red, Taylor Swift's version; Speak Now, Taylor's version; and 1989, Taylor's version. Now, what was interesting about this whole thing as it was going on, right? We had the tweets going back and forth, but what made this really interesting is whether you like Taylor or you do not like Taylor, try, if you can, to extract any emotion that you had in this particular dispute. Okay, try if you can, right? But what we're seeing here is someone who is an incredible artist, and we will also say an incredible businesswoman, but at the same time, someone who can, to many, play the victim role at the same time. Someone who's been able to master not only the victim role, right? Incredible businesswoman, an incredible mind when it comes to music and creating music, right? But some will say that she has mastered both the victim role and her amazing business acumen. We're not going to take that away from her, right? And why do I say that? The reason I say that is because of the tactic that we see right here. The name calling to galvanize the group that she is, that worships the ground that she walks on, right? This particular part right here. So I'm going to go up right here in this particular section here. Let me see how far up do I want to go on this particular thing. So we're going to go right here. So it says here, in response, right? Swift stated she had tried to purchase the masters, but Big Machine had offered unfavorable conditions, and she knew the label would sell them to someone else, but did not expect Braun as the buyer, alleging him to be an incessant, manipulative bully, right? And according to that particular statement right there, the original tweet, I believe it stated that this incessant, manipulative bullying was taking place for years. If I remember correctly, you can fact check me on that, but I believe, loosely paraphrasing here with a little room for grace, that this tactic here, the name calling, the us versus them, is a classic tactic when it comes to propaganda, right? And this right here changed the entire game. Not only this changed the game for an artist to be able to re-record their albums to get the masters, right? It changed the game for everything else that came after it. And of course, she won a lot of awards for recreating the albums, and she is one of the biggest artists alive, right? And of course, she does great music, great fan base, and all those things. But this tactic here, whether you like Taylor, whether you are a super fan, this is a classic tactic when it comes to propaganda. Since we're on the subject matter of propaganda, I definitely want to tell you about 12 rules for propaganda. Definitely check it out. This will free your mind and allow you to make decisions based on how you want to make these decisions. Definitely check out 12 rules for propaganda. It's available for Kindle as well as paperback, which I have right here. All right, so definitely check it out, and back to the video. So the next one should be of no surprise to you. This is the Martin Luther King speech, I Have a Dream. This is considered propaganda. It is positive, but take a listen.
So even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. Yes. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, the sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will they be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream that one day, even the state of Mississippi, a state sweltering with the heat of injustice, sweltering with the heat of oppression, will be transformed into an oasis of freedom and justice. I have a dream.
So now I touched in the beginning that there are many reasons why we will watch things and not watch things, and it deals directly with propaganda. A lot of individuals have not watched that interview that Tucker Carlson did with Vladimir Putin because of however the media has portrayed either Tucker, right, or Vladimir Putin throughout the years. And even after this video, you may not watch the interview, right? That's just the way it is, right? You have made up your mind that you believe that you're making this decision by yourself to just eat one of those things. You know, one of those things. What are those things? Bet you can't eat just one. You remember that slogan? You made up your mind that you're going to try your best not to eat just one, right? And you have made up your mind that you're not going to necessarily watch this particular interview or any interview that Tucker Carlson does, right? Or any interview that Patrick Bet-David does, or any interview that Candace Owens does, or Russell Brand does, or anyone else in the independent media space. And you're only going to watch the things that are that are dealing with mainstream media, right? You've made up that decision already. But how did you get to that decision? So here's what Tucker asked Vladimir Putin, and listen to what he had to say about political propaganda in America and across the world.
Who blew up Nord Stream?
You for sure.
I was busy that day. Nate, do you have I did not blow up Nord Stream. Thank you, though.
У вас лично, может быть, есть алиби, у вас лично.
You personally may have an alibi, but the CIA has no such alibi.
Do you have evidence that NATO or the CIA did it?
Вы знаете, я не
You know, I won't get into details, but people always say in such cases, look for someone who is interested. But in this case, we should not only look for someone who is interested, but also for someone who has capabilities. Because there may be many people interested, but not all of them are capable of sinking to the bottom of the Baltic Sea and carrying out this explosion. These two components should be connected. Who is interested and who is capable of doing it?
But I'm confused. I mean, that's the biggest act of industrial terrorism ever, and it's the largest emission of CO2 in history. Okay, so if you had evidence, and presumably given your security services, your intel services, you would, that NATO, the US, CIA, the West, did this, why wouldn't you present it and win a propaganda victory?
в войне пропаганды очень сложно.
In the war of propaganda, it is very difficult to defeat the United States, because the United States controls all the world's media and many European media. The ultimate beneficiary of the biggest European media are American financial institutions. Don't you know that? So it is possible to get involved in this work, but it is cost prohibitive, so to speak.
Мы можем
We can simply shine the spotlight on our sources of information, and we will not achieve results. It is clear to the whole world what happened, and even American analysts talk about it directly.
Thanks for watching. Watch the Tucker Carlson and Vladimir Putin video right here. And don't forget to subscribe. And until next time, take care.